Smallpox was caused by two closely related strains of viruses that are now eradicated. Variola major was a very virulent virus with around 30% case fatality rate, and variola minor was a less virulent but still very nasty virus with an around 1% case fatality rate. The two were sufficiently similar that they produced cross-protective immunity. People who had recovered from one or the other were protected against infection for life. In the 18th and 19th century, smallpox was one of the major killers of humans, killing up to 1 in 200 Europeans every year. At that time, so-called variolation, the practice of inoculating the skin of healthy children with dry pustules from mild smallpox cases, was a common practice throughout much of Asia and Africa, but it had not been introduced to Europe or America. While the origin of this practice is not entirely clear, it probably dates back at least 500 years to China or India. Variolation typically resulted in a mild infection localized to an area around the site of infection. Variolation was introduced to England in 1721 by Lady Mary Montagu, the wife of a British diplomat, who had witnessed the practice in Istanbul. It was introduced to USA around the same time by Cotton Mather, who learned of the practice from his slave Onesimus, who had himself been inoculated. Following some initial skepticism, the practice became common by the mid-18th century. While greatly improving health, variolation had three drawbacks. First, inoculations did not always successfully stimulate immunity. Second, variolation could sometimes cause full-fledged smallpox and kill the patient. Third, a chain of transmission could cause new and virulent collateral cases in other susceptible individuals. Based on the common observation that milkmaids were generally immune to smallpox, Edward Jenner was among several independent investigators in the 1770s that speculated that cowpox, a virus naturally circulating in wild rodent but also infecting cows, cause a mild infection in humans that give immunity against smallpox. To test his idea, he inoculated the 8-year-old son of his gardener with cowpox blisters from a milkmaid. He subsequently exposed him and later 23 other cowpox inoculated individuals to variolous material and showed that they were all immune to smallpox. The new method had fewer side effects than variolation and could not cause collateral chains of smallpox. The Latin word for cow is vacca, and Jenner named the method vaccinus, which means from cow. Today, of course, we use the term vaccine for all inoculations to stimulate protective immunity. Our arsenal of highly efficacious vaccines are steadily increasing, starting with the additional vaccines developed against a suite of childhood diseases like measles, mumps, rubella, and diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, through very recent additions like the ones against rotavirus and human papillomavirus. Smallpox is the first and only human pathogen to be eradicated through vaccination.